it never really developed the way we wanted it to, and so it is also on our brand new record, finally done as we originally intended.
Right. And I did actually have a story in mind when I wrote this song, because at the time I was listening to a lot of traditional ballads, and what I really liked about them is that a lot of times they were about really difficult subjects, and a lot of them are about like unplanned pregnancies, just things that still happen in life and how people cope with those things. So that is actually what happened with this one girl, this unfortunate situation that happened. So this is called, and I guess it's just about all the things that happen in life that you don't plan, and hopefully you learn from your mistakes. So this is called A Hard Way to Learn.
Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4.
There was something about it that, people still request this song at our shows, and there was something about it that's still worth performing even 15 years later. It's one of our favorite songs to do. So I say that to you because I want you to know that even if you've never written anything before, just get started, and sometimes those early efforts that you do will end up being your favorite. So don't worry if you don't have any craft or any process yet. It's still just a great thing to get started. So that's all I wanted to say. Oh, yes, and then another really good thing about being able to write songs is the ability to be able to listen to feedback from other people. And this is something we do because we're always playing in front of people and trying to see, what resonates and what doesn't with people, and that's how we make up our set list. And we travel every year in the British Isles, and we play a lot of gigs in Scotland. And in Scotland, we play in these incredible folk clubs where a lot of times we'll be the featured act, and before we get up and perform, there will be some floor spots, they're called. So people will get up and do unaccompanied singing. They'll play with all sorts of different traditional instruments, playing songs that we've never heard before that might be, right from that region of Scotland. It's so interesting, and we've learned so much just about just different melodies and different things that we can use in our songwriting craft just from hearing that music. And sometimes we get really direct criticism or advice from people, and that's super helpful as well, because the next song that we're going to play for you, we played at one of these folk clubs in Scotland.
Be careful what you ask for.
Yes, be careful what you ask for. And this gentleman came, and you know, it's a song that we like to encourage people to sing along on. And so everybody sang along, and it went fine. And as we were finishing up the evening, the host came up to us, and he's like, "Oh, I really like your song, Don't You Let Me Down, but I think it would be even better if you added a little tag at the end of every verse that repeats the sort of important line from the verse, and that would really like sort of drive the point
And
home."
you hear that device a lot in certain Celtic folk songs.
Yes, it's true. And then when we were in Scotland, we heard, oh, this is actually what they do in a lot of Celtic folk songs, and that's probably where he got that idea from. So it was really a cool idea.
But he's not getting songwriting credit.
Yeah.
He's getting a special thanks.
So it's funny, you know, so we kind of filed that away, but we forgot about it. And then we went home and we were recording our new album. And we had already recorded the song, and we had all the harmony vocals done, everything was done. And we were listening to it, and we're like, something's not right. And Ken was like, you know, we have a deadline, we gotta finish this album. I'm like, no, we need to re-record this song. Something's not right. And he was like, oh, remember what Gifford said back in Scotland? Let's try that tag, let's see how that works. And we recorded it, and you know, we loved it. It was just a really good suggestion. So anyway, this is...
Just a couple more nights up till 4 in the morning.
Yeah, who cares? There's a few more sleepless nights, you know. So anyway, we would love it if you guys would sing along on this song. The words are super easy. They're just "Don't You Let Me Down." So.
Or more. Now,
But yeah, and now there's the repeated tag, so you'll see how that works as it goes along.
Are you ready?
Yeah. Young girl for my wife, don't you let me down. Her hair turned gray on our wedding night, don't you let me down. Don't you let me down, don't you let me down. Her hair turned gray on our wedding night, don't you let me down. I bought a house high on a hill, don't you let me down. Return to dust as houses will, don't you let me down. Don't you let me down, don't you let me down. Return to dust as houses will, don't you let me down. I saved a nickel every day, don't you let me down. Till the bank man stole it all away, don't you let me down. Don't you let me down, don't you let me down. The bank man stole it all away, don't you let me down. A truer friend you'll never find, don't you let me down. Till the day I leave you all behind, don't you let me down.
Song last year, and you remember, Mike recalled that that was a fake false ending last time.
Yeah.
But we actually turned that into the real ending. Because it was just that much more
Poignant.
cynical, I don't know.
If you just leave it, yeah.
Just leave it hanging.
Right. So,
There you go.
and another, you know, it's super hard to write anything unless you, I guess, listen to a lot of stuff or read stuff. And I think probably most writers are also avid readers, I would think. And so a lot of times it's important for us to do a traditional ballad or a ballad by, say, Woody Guthrie, like we're going to do.
Classic ballad.
Yes, a classic ballad, because then you hear, you know, what did Woody do in that song, and is there something I can learn from that? So one of the best songwriters, such an American treasure as Woody Guthrie. So we actually were pleased enough to participate in a Woody Guthrie tribute night back up in Vermont with some friends of ours, and we had to come up with our own versions of 3 of his songs, and we decided to make one of them an a cappella ballad. And so we're going to do that one for you here, and we've hardly performed this at all. So this is like a nice new thing to do for you guys, hopefully.
It's a mighty hard road that my poor hands have walked. My poor feet have traveled a hot, dusty road. Out of your dust bowl and westward we rolled. Your deserts were hot and your mountains were cold. I worked in your orchards of peaches and prunes. I slept on the ground in the light of the moon. On the edge of the city you'll see us, and then we come with the dust and we go with the wind. Green pastures of plenty from dry desert ground, from the Grand Coulee Dam where the waters run down. Every state in the Union us migrants have been. We work in this fight and we fight till we win. It's always we rambled that river and I, all along your green valley I work till I die. My land I defend with my life if it be. My pastures of plenty must always be free.
Yeah.
If you're looking for a way to get started with songwriting, you really can't do anything better, in my opinion, than taking a traditional ballad, trying to change the melody a little bit, maybe adding your own verse to it. So there you have the template, but you have a place to start, but you can take that off on your own path. And what we did with the Woody Guthrie ballad, we decided to change the melody a little bit so that we could make it a close harmony song. And so it's a little bit, if you go back and listen to the Woody Guthrie version, you'll hear that it's a little bit different. But so even when you're doing somebody else's song, there's still a lot of room for your own writing and your own creativity. So just another thing to keep in mind. So let's
The writers have been doing that for years. I mean,
Right.
for those who are into like 60s pop and R&B,
Right.
the group Them, that was headed by Van Morrison, who's a big soul pop artist, almost everybody knows. He had a big hit with a song called Bright Lights Big City, which is actually an old R&B tune that he changed completely. A completely new verse, a completely new melody, and yet he gave it new life.
Right.
Actually, a lot of 60s pop artists took a lot of the old R&B and soul songs and just kind of twisted them a little bit to their own purposes and have great new songs.
Yes, absolutely true. And then you can actually, so if you're looking for material, what better place to get it from than from your friends? And this is actually like, this is some advice I always give people. If you're ever having problems, struggles, you know, in your love life, anything like that, if any of your friends are songwriters, watch what you tell them, because you never know where, yes, that it could end up in a song, because